Okay. I'm here. I'm good.
New music.
That is the new music that I had picked for it
Um, I thought it
when
was
we picked it
different.
a few months back.
I thought it was different. I kept meaning to ask you about it.
Yep, that's the one we picked out for it.
Okay.
Oh. So,
As usual, I'm
today,
eating.
well, that's fine. You're allowed to eat.
Thank you. I go on these jags where, well, ramen is the number go to, but then I'll do things like I want to eat nothing but tomato soup. Then, like chicken and stars. Now we're back on frickin' salsa.
Uh-huh.
Salsa and chips. So, yesterday I had the question about veggie burgers and plant based burgers.
Uh-huh.
I have another question for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Why are unsalted saltines still called saltines if they're unsalted?
I don't know.
Okay. I just wondered. I thought maybe
That
you knew.
is a very good question. I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
All right. I'm just, these are things that I think about. Well, while I'm shoving, since I ate the blue chips last night, we're now having unsalted saltines with salsa. And we
Hmm.
are on the third jar in 2 days.
You're definitely on a kick.
Mm-hmm. But they only have 10 calories per serving, so hey,
It's not a bad thing.
no, and I'm supposed to gain some weight anyway. I just don't think it's this way.
Well, it's something better than nothing, right?
Yep, it could be worse, right?
Oh,
I know your
that is
sinuses
so
are
true.
still hurting. I know mine are at, it's been a bad year this year. And what, you're due for rain again, huh?
I do believe so, yes.
Knock on wood, we have some sunshine today.
Well, it's sunny outside, but later tonight and tomorrow, who knows?
But it's been I had to turn the heater on again last night. It went down to 41 degrees.
Yep, sounds about right for the springtime.
Yep, it was cold. I was cold all day yesterday. And I wore clothes, and usually well, we won't go into that, but I had a full set of clothes on, let's say that. And I was cold and had the heat on. I wanted to turn the furnace back on, but you know me, it was once April came, everybody put a sweater on,
Mhm.
throw another log on the fireplace, right?
If it keeps you warm, go for
Mhm.
it.
There you go. Did you get to eat lunch?
Yes, I did.
What'd you have?
Coleslaw.
Wow. You're about as good as I am.
A friend calls them saltines with unsalted tops. Not sure. The box actually says. Um,
I
and
think they
then art. Okay, so you're just gonna keep us running in the background. Alrighty. That's good to know.
Mhm. Yeah, we appreciate the comments and what's been going on in the Discord. I'll tell you, you guys have been keeping us hopping.
Oh, it's better than bored out of our minds.
This is true. This is true. We're learning a lot
I
of
will
different things.
always be the first one to claim that. I'd rather
Yep,
have something to do than be bored.
this is true. So I can't wait as we continue our projects to see just how the responses we're going to get. Hmm. They thought I was somewhat emotional over. No, I wasn't emotional over economics, but wait till we get into some of this other shit. Man, I don't know if I'll be able to contain myself. How much am I allowed to swear?
As much as you want.
Okay. I just got to watch certain things, right?
It's because of the topics we cover.
Okay.
Stand by for lawyer mode coming to a Discord near you.
Hmm.
Yep, that
Yep.
sounds
We
about
might need
right.
one. We might need one, right? Although the phone calls have gotten better, they must have gotten their act together.
Well,
We haven't disconnected for a while.
well, yesterday we had a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that is true. We did. That's
My
right.
internet decided, oh, I need to
Yeah.
update right now.
I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I go on and I'm like, there it is. Like, you can't do anything until you hit update. Oh, no. Here we go.
Uh
I
oh.
told them, don't call.
Oops. Did we lose D? Oh, no. Okay.
Hello?
I thought we lost you for a second. It went really
Hello?
quiet. Oh, she did get
Hmm.
disconnected. Hold on.
Seriously? Crazy Bee, can you hear me? Tell me I gotta log out.
And before I could even send it. Yeah. One moment, folks. Well, in the meantime, yeah, I don't think she could hear me. I could hear her, but she couldn't hear me. So, um, we I was digging in on that Judge Joe Brown case that he was talking about. Um, Supposedly the youngest girl was executed in Arkansas in 1934 for stealing from a five and dime. Well, I have searched everywhere for this. Okay? I literally have tried finding it. I must be missing it, or there might be some records I can't get my hands on. But I did find um, the youngest boy and the youngest girl to ever be executed in the United States, and I have a bit of their stories of what happened and how it came to be. So I figured I would go ahead and cover that today. Uh, the youngest male and the youngest female to ever have been executed. Well, we are still trying to supposedly find this case that came from Judge Joe Brown. Uh, I am not sure where Dee went to. And oh, there she is. Let's see if the audio kicks in.
No, I am so I can't figure out after a call how to get back in without going completely out. So we'll have to figure that out. But I
Okay.
apologize. But
I
here's
wasn't sure if it was your end or my end, so I figured since you couldn't hear me, have you log out first
yeah, I
and
did.
come back in.
Yeah.
And if it still didn't fix it, then I'd log out and come back in.
No, Eric called, right? Eric called.
Oh,
Okay. Hello, 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 no answer. Okay. I call him. Here's what I get. What do you want? I'm in a tight space. I'm like, you called me. I didn't call you. He's, no, I didn't call you. Yes, you did. No, I
he
didn't. We're
butt
going back.
dialed.
Yeah, I'm like, you butt dialed me, didn't you? I had killed. I'm like, you know what I was doing? Yeah, he butt dialed me. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh-huh. It
I
was not on
apologize for the
purpose.
interruption.
Neither him nor you were at fault. It was an accident.
No, it was him. He does that all the. You know what he's guilty of? Never hanging up the phone. So I have been on the phone for like 15 minutes listening to everything that him and EJ have said. And I'll tell you what, if I was a customer and I listened to the two of them, I'd be like, I'm not sure I want you two working for us. swearing and stuff and the fighting between the two of them, I'm telling you, it's something else.
I can believe it.
You know, it's it's going to be interesting. Life's interesting. Anyway, you should see before I let you get started. So, you know, I had those technical difficulties. So, I told you I was up against the headboard trying to listen. And I was trying to do the podcast from my head being slammed up on the headboard.
Uh-huh.
So, I went and got a extension cord which is running down the length of the bed, but the cord to the power cord is the USB cord is about an inch long. So I have to have the extension cord piece up on top of the bed. This is crazy the way we go to work.
Uh, it's just part of adapting, I
Anyway,
guess.
maybe I should have been unalived as a juvenile. We might have said,
Um,
you know what, we came close. You know that? With some of them
yeah.
beatings we took.
Oh yeah. My ass got tore
Hmm.
up more than once by my parents.
And tell me I'm talking to myself again. Yep.
And she can't hear me. Are you kidding me? I thought she could hear me. Anyways, always entertaining when devices don't work great. So we're gonna cover the history of the death penalty for juvenile offenders. Um, One of the first ones ever was from 1642. Thomas Granger, at the age of 16, was hanged in Plymouth County, Massachusetts, for having. Oh, hi Dee.
I'm sorry.
Can you
I'm
hear me
telling
now?
you, I've been talking to myself for the last.
No, I could hear you. We could all hear you. You couldn't hear
Okay,
me.
I couldn't hear you guys. I've just about had it. I'm telling you, I need to be one of these people here. I'm telling you, it should have just
It's
all
not
been
like you
taken.
do it on purpose. It's just bad luck, and iPhone sucks. I hate Apple.
Uh, we're gonna rag on iPhones again, are we? Knock
Yeah.
on.
It's an
Here we go.
overpriced phone. They
Yeah,
keep charging more and more for the same dang thing.
I
For like
know. I
how many
told you.
decades now? 20
Right.
years almost?
I know. We're going to try to. I thought we were done with this contract this past January, but it was a 3 year
Well, if you've
contract.
gotten a phone replaced, it redoes the contract. It re-ups it.
Yeah, and I
So,
don't want to do that. I want to get out from Verizon. So that's why I'm hanging in there till January. So then we'll
yep.
make a move. If
Yep.
I can get
And
them to even move, because, you know, we've only had it since what, how long? Forever.
yeah, that does happen and change is scary. But if it
Oh,
saves money and you get better reception and your
I
phone
know.
doesn't cut you out constantly.
I
No, but
know.
honestly, if we can get the computer thing worked out, which we were supposed to do this morning but ended up not doing,
Oh, I
um,
wonder why.
we got talking about everything else under the sun and
Uh huh.
laughing. And
Yep.
then we discussed about what options I have for buying this house. And then daughter and her dad got into a big old spat about her having a room upstairs instead of downstairs. And oh, yeah, it was a fun morning.
Did they are
But
they out of the house, by the way? Are they all gone?
no, they're back. They're back.
Oh,
She
oh
has to
shit.
pick up her diploma May 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, at least we have a date.
because it's D and the podcast. So anyone in the next 24 to 48 hours, like 800 to 900 people will be hearing that you get your diploma on the 22nd. And I'm proud of you and I love you
Hmm.
ever so much.
I don't want to do the walk thing.
I get you
Like
don't want to be
a
there.
cake or something.
We will do a cake and ice cream here at the house in a family gathering. Yes.
Never. I don't want to do the walk thing.
I didn't I graduated and it wasn't always cracked up to be. You walk across the stage where a bunch of people cheer for you even though they hated you the day before. And yeah. Yep. So screw school. Sorry. You can tell I didn't get along with people in my school either. And my daughter angel that she is. Just sat quiet, didn't talk to anybody, and they thought you killed someone or stabbed
No,
someone?
they thought I was there because I stabbed someone with a pencil.
Yeah, they thought she was there because she stabbed someone with a
And
pencil
she did
at
stupid
her
river.
old school.
She did the stupid river dance.
Really? That's funny.
It was spread by a middle schooler at that.
Oh my god. That's
So
too
she
funny.
just stayed quiet and creeped them all out. It was great. She reminds me of me in my sophomore year of high school. All black makeup, all black clothes, sitting there not talking to anyone. And if anyone came near me, I gave them the death glare from hell. By that time I was sick of classmates. I just wanted to get out of school. I really was absolutely sick of public school.
Black
It
picks
was
up all
not for
that
me.
fuzz and crap. You should have went like gray.
No, back then black was the creepy
Black
gothic
was the
thing that
thing.
the
Yeah.
parents were all hating, and you were a demonic person if you did so. So, yeah. Like I said, I did my best to be antisocial. People wouldn't leave me the fuck alone though sometimes.
Yeah, I bet they wouldn't. All
Yeah,
right.
then it led to a fight or two, but
Hold on a second. Jeez.
All right.
what's
So
going
we're
on?
following up the salsa and unsalted saltines that we don't know if they're named saltines with Twizzlers. So if I get sick during the podcast, I'll try to excuse myself.
Yep, I'm like Art. Screw the graduation. Only diploma I walked across the stage for was high school. Mhm. Yep. After that, it can be
No,
mailed to you where you go pick it up in person.
no, I went for, since I didn't get to go back till I was older for college, I went across for that frickin' bachelor's
Well,
degree because I got all kind of awards and shit. My master's, I was like, I don't really give a shit. Just mail the sucker, and they mailed it to the house.
oh, that's okay. But the funny thing about me is I went through school, all the classes, all the work for my associate's degree,
Yeah,
sent in everything. The fucking school lost it. And they wanted me to retake my last semester, but I was already hired. So I said, screw it.
wow.
I never went back for my last semester. I evidently there was something wrong with I faxed it. They claimed they never got it. I had the fax receipts. I sent it. They said they never got it. They wanted me to redo it. I'm like, screw y'all. I'm not
Yeah,
redoing this. I already went through this shit and I already know what I'm doing. So why do I need this? And
I
I was
told.
basically the
Mhm.
last class that was allowed to not be forced certified.
To do that.
Um
Wow.
sorry, what was that?
I said, wow. I can't believe that they let you go away with it.
Well, that's again because it wasn't a required degree to be a medical assistant. You weren't
I see.
required to be certified when I was supposed to graduate, and I would have
Hmm.
graduated with the 3.75 GPA, taking care of
Hmm.
my mom, two autistic kids, well, an overbearing, abusive, insane mother, plus the two autistic kids, and no car, and working part-time in the process. Yeah, piece of paper means
And
jack
we
shit. I got the
and we
education and I was able to work. That's all that mattered.
and we wonder why we're sick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. I used to bike and bus and walk everywhere. Didn't even have a car. I had
Huh?
a couple classmates who would give me a ride in bad weather, but yeah. Nope. It, it was just yep, like art. I went to college twice. It was just a means to an end. The first time
Mhm.
and the second time I went back, I managed grad students for a professor who asked me to. I was helping my professors teach billing and coding and EHR and EMR usage, how to use the EMRs and all that. I was assisting the teachers because I learned it faster than they could teach it just by jumping in and playing with the system. So I was helping with students who were struggling with blood draws, blood pressure readings, all that stuff, chart how to do the notes. I was tutoring students for free and for fun because I was that far ahead. I would have had a 4.0 if I wasn't taking care of my mother and the kids. I
Mhm.
would have walked out with a 4.0 GPA. Not that it says much given that some
It
people,
doesn't.
I guess they were dropping the what was it, the qualifications for that stuff, like
Yeah.
your grades and stuff, they were adjusting them and all that. So it
Yep.
doesn't really make me feel as smart as I should.
Mhm. I
Just
hear
gonna
you.
say that. I don't feel as smart as I should because I graduated during the Obama era. So yeah, I'm probably not as smart as I should be.
I told you what I did. I had that one paper left to write to get my degree, and it was have it at her house by 7 p.m. And I was like, I'm just going to take the class over again because I had had surgery. And I
Mhm.
sat there and looked at all the shit that, because you know me, I have all the stuff done ahead of time. All I had to do was put it together.
Yep.
And from 2 o'clock till 5 o'clock, I wrote a 75-page paper with notations and everything.
Oh, hold on. Hi, JJ.
Son of a
Glad you
gun,
could make
he's
it.
butt
Don't worry,
dialing
you
me
haven't
again.
missed much. You have not missed much except D getting booted twice because of a phone call. So you haven't missed much. And Art, I need a guy who knows his stuff, can lead people, and has real world experience. Come work for me. Write your own ticket. Yup. Oh, I should have stayed on as a teaching assistant or something instead of. But I really did enjoy the time working in the medical field with homebound elderly patients and homebound patients who were um, um, quadriplegic or whatever, morbidly obese, couldn't get out of the house. It was great experience, and I know D got booted again. What the heck happened? I was wondering where she went. I was just about to reference her. I think she's talking to herself. Uh-oh, where'd D go? Oh, I was just asking where you went.
Where do you think I went? He butt dialed me again. Again. So I called
Maybe you
back.
should jump on the tablet and leave the phone.
Right. Well, I am on the tablet, but they're
Oh,
connected.
they're
So they're
synced.
connected. So it rings in both places, right? So
Oh
I
my
call back.
god.
He must be afraid because EJ picked up.
Tell him to not leave his phone in his
I
pocket while
know.
he's
I know.
working.
I know. It's funny as
Men.
hell.
Oh, sorry, half our audience is male.
Yeah, men. Yeah.
Sorry.
We try not to. Yeah. Although, you know what? There was something about men that I thought, maybe I saved that for next Sunday. Hmm.
We could do a battle of the sexes day. I'll
Yeah,
defend the
kind of
guys
thing.
and
Yeah.
you defend the
Yeah.
women against the stereotypes.
Yeah. That would be, we could
Because we
do
don't
that.
have any guys. Well, we could probably try and bring Arby up maybe on a
Yeah.
weekend thing. If we do it on a Sunday, we can bring Arby up and have him do it.
Uh huh.
All right,
That would
guys,
be
got
fun.
to get the housework done. All right, that's fine, Art.
All right. What you got, Crazy Bee?
Okay, so I was talking about in 1642 in Plymouth, Thomas Granger, age 16, was hung because he had adult relations with a mayor, a cow, and some goats. I
Oh,
guess it
come
was slim
on.
pickings on the girlfriends.
Wait a minute. Wait. Say that again. He had what? I can't read it. He had what?
I'm editing this. Adult relationship actions with a
With?
mayor, a cow, and some goats.
Oh, his ass definitely needed hung. At least by his feet or by something else.
Yeah, here in Kentucky, the goats and the sheep are often victims.
Oh my God. Really? Come on. That's.
Rednecks, rednecks with nothing better to do. Literally nothing better to do. Sorry, that play on words was perfect. To quote my mom, men, what women marry, shaking my head.
I can't even. I don't even.
Yeah, down here,
Do I go to
yes, it
worry
is.
about the goats?
Um, maybe just explain to Jacob that when he gets older, goats are not good replacements for girlfriends.
There you go.
I'm just saying, when they're in the middle of nowhere, people do stupid shit.
I'm
It's
telling
not the
you
first
know
I've
what?
heard of this.
Really?
I have heard this many
Come
times
on.
over
Get
the
a
years,
get a
people doing
book.
stuff like this.
Get a book and read a book or something. Come on. Oh, man, that.
Raging hormones and a animal that cannot speak on its own defense. Yeah.
I mean, how'd they catch him?
Oh, probably walked in on it.
Ugh.
Yep.
Okay. So he got hung for that.
Yep.
What year was
And
that?
child offenders um were who were under 18 at the time for 366 further years. Okay, hold on. The practice would end 363 years later after the deaths of at least 366 child offenders. It took
They
that
did
long
what?
to stop
Had
executing
blank with
juveniles right away.
animals. Had blank with
Oh, he's
animals.
not the only one, though. I've got more stories.
Wait, wait a minute. There were 366 kids that had blank with animals.
No,
Oh,
366 kids who've been executed.
oh, okay. I
Not
was going to
just for
say
that
with
crime. That's
animals. Oh
one
my gosh,
incident of a
crazy
crime.
bee. I might have to leave. This is getting a little bit too. You just started and this is getting me upset and up.
Well, hold on.
Really?
Wait till I read the other ones. Then I'm going to read the full story of Hannah Okush, who was a Native American girl who was hanged in Connecticut, which we talked about, for murdering a 6-year-old white girl. James Arcane was a Cherokee. He was the youngest ever to be condemned. He was hanged in Arkansas in 1885 for a murder robbery he helped commit when he was 10 years old. He was executed at 13. The execution came 13 years later out of deference of his young age. I'm sorry, not out of deference of his young age, but because it took that long for a lawman to arrest him.
Oh, they couldn't catch
Um,
him.
yeah, if this is a web page currently on a browser, but we're not on Rex Sisters. We're on questions that need answers. So you're not going to find Rex Sisters in the thing. But yeah, I do need to. Is it? I thought I enlarged it far enough. Oops, I'm enlarging the wrong web browser now. Hold on. Oh nope, that's down. Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay. So
Oh,
I apologize. Others were rushed to their deaths in 1944. The George Steiny case that we're going to cover. He was electrocuted in South Carolina at 14.
oh man, that had a burn.
We'll cover his story in full detail. In 1964, Texas executed James Eccles. He was the last teen to get the death penalty for adult assault on two white women or a white woman. He was put to death at 19, 2 years after the crime. So again, I have to edit this so we don't get edited by YouTube.
Right?
Um, After Eccles' execution, laws allowing the penalty stayed on the books but were not used for 21 years. Um, Tech Limited Support Service Limited. Yes, I appreciate it, JJ. I didn't realize it was that large. Because when I'm looking at it in the studio, it's even smaller, no matter what. So if y'all need me to enlarge it, just say so. I wasn't sure if it was just because of your allergies, your eyes were blurred up or not, but you can tell me to enlarge it, D. Feel
All
free.
right.
And then in 1972, the Supreme Court ruling in Furman versus Georgia largely agreed death sentences for all age groups were imposed so arbitrarily, so wantonly, and freakishly, as Justice Potter Stewart put it, that they violated the Eighth Amendment. The court ruling stated. So and the rulings in effect struck down all death penalty statutes as they then existed, but it allowed states an opportunity to craft new, less discriminatory laws. And I'll show you guys that there are some. And again, I don't want to say it's racial profiling. I don't want to be, too much, but from the 1900, like the 1800s through the early 1900s, up probably to the 1950s, a
Yeah.
lot of the
Yeah.
people executed were of African American origin, and I would love to see the cases and how strong the evidence was. Because I
Mhm.
know back then there was a lot of racial profiling, far worse than today. If people think it's bad today, they wouldn't have survived back then. Like,
Well, yeah,
holy
the thing
shit.
is you need to look at the crime statistics of that are occur today. So that's what I'd
Yes,
want to
but
see. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm talking I wanna see what the actual cases were back then, whether they were actual solid evidence or is
Mhm.
this hearsay shit, because that was common back then.
Oh
And
yeah.
even now, you get people acting like it's the 1930s Jim Crow era, but it's not even close. And I
Well,
got
yeah, there have
family who
been
will testify to that shit.
there have been
And they are
recent
black
cases.
family,
Yeah.
so get over it.
Yeah, there are recent cases where they say they were the R word and they come out a couple, years later, or,
Oh, the "I
they
lied"
yeah,
shit.
and say that it's not true. It was never true.
Yeah, and Art said it. There were lots of issues with prosecutions of blacks in the South during Jim Crow,
Mhm.
and I will not deny that. Anyone who knows me knows I love history, and I won't deny facts. There were bad times, but there were also things that were not as bad. And again, it was just awful the way some people were treated. But I will say there are a lot of white people and Native Americans. It wasn't just black people. Native Americans came in second, I believe. And quite a few white people and not and women. I'm shocked at how many women have been executed in
Mhm.
America since its founding. Like, wow. Some pure insanity how many women are criminals. You'd think
I
women are
think
supposed to be the fairer sex and we're supposed to be so innocent and do no harm and do no wrong and we're so caring.
I think the
Fuck
men
that.
paid them off. I think the men paid them off.
Oh, yeah, women I don't think women got enough credit for the
No.
crimes they did. Just saying, I don't think they got enough credit. And maybe there was a couple of innocent men who took the fall for the crimes some women committed. Just going to be fair here. And again, I grew up with a mother who was not at all remotely respectful to my father in so many ways. So I tend to side with the guys a lot faster than I do the women. And I want more details because women can be conniving little bitches. Like seriously, I have met
Oh
too
yeah,
many,
they
and I
might connive where the guy just goes and frickin' chops her up. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's the frickin' do? You know what I mean? That like that's okay. Like, I'm really sure I'm gonna stab her tonight. And
yeah.
the woman's like, "Oh yeah, well let's we'll take him to dinner, get him drunk, and then we'll stab him."
Oh,
Is
did
that?
I send you that one video? It was, this chick, she's being interrogated by the police, and they're like, "How did your husband die?" And she's like,
Yes.
"Poison." And then they're like,
Yeah,
"Well, why did
I
he have
know.
so many
Uh,
bruises?"
wait,
"Because he
it,
wouldn't take
uh
it."
huh. You
Like,
should
holy
find that
shit.
and find that and pull that up. That's pretty good.
Oh my god, I have such a dark sense of humor. I'm
Mhm.
bad. I apologize if
No,
you
but
guys
it's
are
the
offended
truth.
by dark sense of
Hmm.
humor, but I am
I
not.
almost, I almost died when that happened. It was pretty freaking
Oh,
funny.
here it is. Oh, it was you who sent it. Okay, that was you.
It was not. You sent it to me.
No, you sent it to me and Faye in the group
Oh,
chat.
that's right. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
And then
sorry. Yeah,
I
I
went and
did.
sent it to my server and a bunch of other people.
Right. And I
Here, let
said
me play
save it.
this
Yeah, go
for you
ahead and play
guys.
it. Go ahead. That's right. My bad. Sorry for
Oh,
my
you
fault.
motherfucker. Hold on. I got to do this way.
You did hear me. Sorry for my fault.
It's not your fault. Oh, come on. No. Keep putting it in the wrong frickin' spot. There we go. Oh, but it won't show the audio
Won't it?
because I have to come in here and do a full screen share. I apologize in order to get my audio to come through. Here we go.
Yeah, be careful,
Yeah, be
guys, what
careful,
you,
guys.
you know.
Oh, hold on. Wait, I don't know if the audio's coming through. So let me back this up. Now I can know for sure.
How did your husband die?
Yeah, poison.
I don't hear it.
But there's bruises all over his body.
I know he didn't want to take it.
How did your
I don't know why you couldn't hear it, but I hope everyone else could. If not, there was the subtitles.
Yep.
Oh, I heard some audio. Okay, you heard some audio. Why wasn't my audio louder? Hmm. That is weird. But I will leave this in the comments. I mean, in the description for you guys because it is freaking epic funny. And
Mm-hmm.
so back to what we were doing. Where was that one? There it is. I'll get it right. I promise. Slap on the head. LOL. Yeah, because he wouldn't take it. I mean, if you don't have a dark sense of humor, something's wrong with you. I'm sorry. I can't be friends with people without a dark sense of humor. And my sense of humor goes so dark, I would probably be in jail in the UK right about now. Um, and I can even make fun of myself. Like some of the shit the guys will put on there about women. Oh, I bust up laughing. Oh my god, I can't argue. I've known way too many women like that to make yeah, they absolutely are right sometimes. So, yes, dark sense of humor is a requirement to be a very close friend of mine. Otherwise, I may not trust you.
There you go. Oh,
I think
I
that's
thought that I sent that. I apologize.
oh, it's all right. I yeah, I'm sorry. I have one of those sense of humors that literally would get me in trouble in the UK right now because they're so sensitive.
You better hope we don't get thought police.
Yeah. Or even on the game like a mom channel. Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I started gaming again. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn cuz I've already played the Forbidden West. So I'm going to do Zero Dawn and then I'm going to go replay Forbidden West. That's later tonight. I'm actually going to start that after this stream. I'm going to jump into my game. And then hopefully be off by the time Lord Sterling goes live. I should be good with that. So, yeah, it is something I'm going to do tonight. I was supposed to do it this morning, but I had too much fun on a phone call with my family and D. So the game was like, yeah, we can do it later tonight.
There you go.
So that I'm just having fun.
Oh, you know what? I just got a message on my phone that there's an update available.
It's up to you if you want to take the risk.
I'm not, but I'm telling you, this is like, something's eavesdropping here. Something
Oh yeah.
crazy. Yeah, the tablet will be next. Watch. Go ahead.
Okay.
Who's this guy?
This is
He didn't do
2005.
anything with any animals, did he?
I don't know. I haven't read this all the way through. I'm reading it for the first time.
Oh, okay.
So, Christopher Simmons, a Missouri teen who was 17 when he and a friend murdered a woman. Executing juvenile offenders was cruel and unusual punishment, the High Court found. Teens are inherently capable of rehabilitating themselves. Have you met me? Like, and JJ says, D, you're echoing. I don't know how that's happening because I don't hear it.
Is that better, JJ? Sorry. I'm just being a
I
pain.
don't know.
I'm wind up today. Is it gone?
I can't. JJ's going to have to answer.
All
So,
right.
the Simmons ruling spared the lives of 72 juvenile offenders still on death row at the time. Crazy B is clear, but D has an echo. Oh, I don't know what to say.
Me neither.
We'll try to get through today. Maybe I could clean up the audio after we post the videos. I could go in and maybe clean up the audio a little. If not,
Oh well.
okay. So, Simmons' ruling spared the lives of 72 juvenile offenders still on death row at the time. For others, the decision came too late. By the numbers, the juvenile death penalty in the modern era. So this is
Okay,
up to
hold up.
2005.
Hold up. Hold up, Crazy B. So did he just get life in prison, or
Yes.
what happened to him?
Or no, they're still on death row. They might execute as adults if they can't be rehabilitated, I believe. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on how well they've behaved in jail.
Wow.
So
Okay.
since sentenced to number of they abolished punishment 22. So the number sentenced to death was 226. A percentage executed who were African American was 50%. Percent of African American population as a whole, 12%. Number of executed who were white, 10. Who were Hispanic, 1. Of all the executed teens, this is going to be one of those um basically comparing us to the Jim Crow era articles, but I'm going to read it anyways because I cover both sides. So, of all who were executed teens, percentage whose victims were white, 81% of all. The victims were white was 81%. Of executed blacks, percent convicted by all white juries, approximately 30, which I think is wrong. It should not be, though. It says a jury of your peers. That means a variety of Americans, not just one race. And if it was me on trial, I would want a little bit of everything.
But
So,
what time span were we looking at?
oh, this is from 76 to 2005, 74 to 2005.
Oh wow.
Yes. So this is past Jim Crow. This is past the civil rights.
Right.
And I think that, again, race, for most people, race does not play a factor. I'm sorry. I'm going to break the narrative here. People can bite me. But 99% of the people I know, race is not a factor. And I know a lot of freaking people. Okay? I know a lot. And all over the world, not just in America. Race is not a factor. Okay?
Well, I I disagree in that.
For the people I know is what I'm saying.
Yes,
Race is
but
not
what
a factor.
yeah, what I'm saying is I think that when something bad happens, we automatically, instinctively go to race.
Not me. I'm an oddball.
Well,
I really must be an
we
oddball.
know how odd you are.
I am not
Maybe
part of the
maybe need to
mass
be from
population.
crazy B to oddball B.
Honestly, it
I
doesn't. I want the
understand
facts
that, but
before I make a
I'm
judgment.
going to be totally honest with you. If something happened, you remember how I grew up.
Well, yeah.
So I can tell you in all honesty, if something happened, I would probably, in all honesty, I'd probably hit race. If there was, if it, I would look at it, I certainly would. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I certainly would. I take race into consideration. I take race into consideration who was sitting on the jury panel, who the judge was, all of it, most certainly.
See, I'm an
And I'm not
oddball.
saying I'm and I'm telling you what my bias would be.
Well,
If
yeah,
you
but you
hurt,
also have reason for that bias.
yes, and I'm
That's a
saying if
difference.
you
I
hurt, yeah,
don't have reason for bias because I didn't grow up during the civil rights era.
right. So if now I can be totally arbitrary unless you hurt me or mine. In that case, then it's on, right?
And
It's all
see, even if someone were to do something to me or my family, I wouldn't blame it on race. And I wouldn't just assume their race based on what happened.
well. You
I'm
haven't
odd
been
like
in
that.
yeah, but have you been in
Oh, you
have
should hear the shit I was accused of when I was working in Detroit and Flint. being white, coming into all black homes. Some loved me. Oh my God, they absolutely loved me with all their hearts. And I got to meet their grandkids, great grandkids, and great great grands. Like, you wouldn't believe how welcoming they were to me. And then there was ones where the family's just like, "Who, you're lucky to be here. It's nice seeing a white person working for black people for a change." And I literally am like, I had a conversation with one. And the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, well, you had it easy." I go, "I did not have it easy. I barely made it out of high school because I was bullied so bad. When I finally made it to college, I found out I wasn't retarded. And then I had to drive, walk or take a bus or a bike to work, to school all the time to get through college. My family didn't pay for it. That was paid for by grants, and no student loans or out of pocket. It was grants or out of pocket. I also had to deal with 2 kids, my mom, during this process. My parents didn't pay shit for me. We were lower middle class, just above poor, white family in the middle of frickin' nowhere. No, I did not have it easy. And this guy's jaw dropped. And I go, "And if you want to talk race, my race, one of my races was hated more than yours." And he goes, "Oh, what is that?" And I go, "I'm part gypsy." He had nothing more to say. He's like, people don't admit that stuff.
I'm talking more or less violence.
Yeah, I've never had a. Well, actually, I've come close.
Yeah.
Me and a nurse practitioner had been cornered. Someone trying to force us to give them prescriptions for pain pills. Had to explain we don't have prescription pads anymore. It's all electronic, just to get the hell out of there. While we both had a script pad hidden on us. Yeah, yeah, we've been cornered in situations. I told you about the time I went into that gas station, and kid in there was bugged out on something, but he was a high risk. I grabbed a second bottle of Mountain Dew just in case I needed a second weapon, one bottle in each hand. I've been into some situations where it could have been bad, but I still don't instantly stereotype. I can tell you
Well,
a couple stories
I'm
where I leave the race out and you'd guess it, but still.
right.
But yeah, I've
Well,
been in some.
yeah. I'm just saying my experiences have been different from the time I went to kindergarten through high school and even through work, and then things that happened on
Yeah,
an individual
and
basis
I'm
or family. So
yeah.
I can't lie about it. You know what I mean? I just can't. I could say real easily, "Oh, I'm not like that," but I can't because
No,
I
don't
will.
lie. I would never want anyone to
Yeah.
lie.
So I have to admit that I can look at things and say, I'll look at a situation and say, no, I'm not racist. But yet, if you do hurt me or mine, and it is a black, Indian, Hispanic, you name it, I'm going there. I don't get, I'm going
Well,
there.
I know I told you about the doctor I worked with. He was a black doctor, very highly educated, smart man, served in Vietnam, but his wife had been brutally assaulted by some white guys. I never once faulted him for not trusting white people.
Yeah.
Never once would have held it. But I did go above and beyond out of my way to be very nice to compensate for it. Was that right? I don't know. But I had him trusting me a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to raise my children different. Jacob is totally sees nothing. His best friend is African American.
Mhm.
He's totally nothing to it.
Mhm.
But again, given my background and my history and all of that,
But
I
again, that is an understandable trauma situation. You're not passing it on to your grandkids.
right.
Where there are groups in the black families, in the black communities, that pass it on to hate
So
the
for
next people.
example, the recent, and I can't think of the two of their names right now. I have other stuff on my mind right now. The stabbing between the black kid and the white kid, that took
Yeah.
the knife goal. See, in that case, I don't see race. I see a kid that had no business taking a knife to school.
Yeah.
Now, the situation has turned racial because they want the country all in an uproar. But
Yeah.
in those types of situations, I'm like, there's a dumbass kid taking a knife to school. If it's, if I was his mother, there'd be problems.
He'd be getting his ass whooped.
Oh, big time. There would be no press conference because he wouldn't be able to stand up for one. But you know, again, in a personal situation, I would go there, and I'm not gonna lie, I would.
I mean, I've gotten lucky. The only thing my kids have ever snuck to school was my daughter snuck a hamster, a live hamster, in her backpack to school for a
Oh shit!
classmate.
What happened?
Oh, it was fine. We had to go pick up the hamster and bring it home.
Oh wow.
That's the worst I've ever had to deal with was my daughter in middle school sneaking a hamster to the school. That is the
There
worst
you
I've ever
go.
had to deal with. But I've told you guys about my son's first week in high school, and that girl stabbed another girl over some boy. Both top of the class, well on their way to well-renowned colleges. The one girl was stabbed like 6 or 7 times. Um, Hold on a second, folks. I got to take a call. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, I
Oh, I
wonder if
wonder if
it's a
it's a
butt
butt dial.
dial. Please
Please
stand
stand
by.
by.
Our
Our
host will
host
be
will
back
be back
shortly.
shortly.
Don't tell
Don't
her I
tell her I
said that.
said
She'll
that.
kill
She'll
me.
kill me.
Please continue
Please
to hold.
continue to hold. Our host is
Otherwise
otherwise
engaged. She will
engaged.
return
She will
shortly.
return shortly.
I apologize. Can you guys hear me now? Shit. D can't hear me. JJ, can you hear me? Or Art? Oh my god. Thank you, JJ. Thank you. D, can you see? D? Well, I don't think she's looking at the screen. Okay, so you guys can hear me, D cannot. And I am trying to get her a message. Ah, okay, I'm going to back out and come back in. Give me 1 minute. All right, can D hear? Nope. D, can you hear me? Hello? Nope, she can't hear me. Shit. Let me try getting a message to her another way. Hold on, folks. I apologize. My I kind of want to hold off on telling the story at what happened. Um,
Questions that need answers is still running. Our host will be back in one moment,
D, can you hear me?
and I need to leave the studio. I think I'm just leaving and going back to bed. This is
Okay.
too freaking funny. You can't make this shit up. Honest to God. She takes a phone call and I have to leave.
I tried leaving and it didn't work. I sent her a DM on Discord about it. I hope she sees it. It wasn't my it was my fault, but it still needs to be fixed like via her end. So, I'm trying. I'm trying, folks. I really truly am. Oh my god, what a week. Um ah, D. Can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, come on. D? Okay, I'm gonna leave and
Hello?
come back. Oh, can you hear me?
Now what's the problem?
Okay, if you can't hear me, give
Do
me
do do
1 minute.
do.
Um, Let me refresh 1 second. Okay, nope, D left again. For fudge sake. I literally just well, I tried. I have tried 3 different ways from Sunday. D, can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, this is bull crap. This
Okay,
is
Crazy V,
absolute
if you can hear me, I don't see anything on the screen. I don't hear you. I hear absolutely nothing. So I guess I'll just log out and have a good one.
hold on. Hold on. D, I was able to hear you, but you couldn't hear me. Oh, this is so frustrating. So frustrating. Yes, tech is wrecked. Sorry, sisters. I get it. I get it. I truly do. I feel bad, but let me explain this what happened, and it was an important phone call. Because I can. So my ex-brother-in-law, after 5 years of living down here, hit a deer on his way to work this morning, and they're gonna be totaling the car, which is no, it's not funny. It's his only running vehicle right now. It wasn't too bad. The deer didn't even die. He just clipped its back end and um um hold on. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry, I was getting the message to D. But yeah, so his vehicle is gonna be totaled. He's gonna take the insurance money and buy it flat out from the insurance company and just fix it himself. He clipped the deer's back end, damaged the headlight mount, the front quarter panel. Isn't too bad. It's just where the headlight and the hood come together. I mean, I've actually seen worse damage from a deer. So I am not sure what to do, but he needed to call us in case something happens over the week and the kids need a ride. We'll have to go and grab them while they're sorting out the vehicle situation because he does have to relinquish it. And he literally just got this vehicle like a month or two ago, and he finally got the license plate put on, and he hits a damn deer. Literally, just put the license plate on 3 days ago. And yeah, this is entertaining to say the least. But back to the executions of children that our government was so fond of. Um, so approximate number of executed blacks presented convicted by all white juries was 30%. Approximate number of former death row teens who are behind bars today, re-sentenced to life in prison with little or no possibility of parole, is 187. Of the however many are now 60 years old is 9. Number of juvenile offenders exonerated, 3. Years at a juvenile exoneree Years that that juvenile exoneree Kwame Ajamu, spent in an Ohio prison for murder he did not commit, was 28. And this is again why I don't necessarily like our death penalties on some cases, because in general, I'm talking adults and kids. What if they didn't do it? What if they didn't do it? What if there missed some evidence? What if something happens? I mean, look how many murders are being solved 50, 60, 70, even 80 years later. They're still getting solved. It really is one of those heartbreaking things that, yes, the family needs justice, but at what cost? And this is one of those cases where he was exonerated 28 years later for a murder he did not commit. Leon Brown spent in North Carolina for a rape and murder he didn't commit, was 30 years. Male juvenile offenders sentenced to death is 221. 5 female. Number of females executed was 0. Percentage of teen offenders executed in Texas was 60. Percentage executed in Texas, Virginia, and Oklahoma combined was 81%. I mean, this is a mess. This is a mess. That, again, there's so many death row inmates. And about 95% or more death row inmates of all ages experience at least one of the following: physical, sexual, psychological abuse, neglect, poverty, trauma, mental disorders not being treated, illiteracy, substance abuse. But here's the thing: in most jails, you have access to care for all of this stuff. Do you choose to take it? And do you choose to report these abuses that happened? And again, I don't, and you know what's crazy is I've experienced a lot of these things. And I did not go around hurting people. I don't think these are all good excuses. I think it's a lot of self-control. I mean, these do not excuse the fact you committed a murder and you're now sitting on death row. These do not excuse it. Mental disorders, substance abuse, poverty, trauma, neglect. I've had all of that. I've had all of that. I choose not to go and act on my impulses. I get some people are not capable of that, but that's still not an excuse to get away with murder. Your ass still needs to sit in jail. This is, again, I don't look for excuses. These might explain why the crime happened, but that doesn't absolve you of consequence for said crime. Um, People can be mad at me for it. That's fine. I really don't care. Um, what I want to cover are the two youngest ones, male and female. Let me super zoom this so you guys can see it. Um, Today, the crimes of Hannah Akuish would be readily explained, if not outright forgiven. Her childhood incorporated all the cliches. I- Again, I don't think a bad childhood exonerates you from a consequence for the crime you committed. There still has to be a crime. She was a she had suffered poverty, neglect, ignorance, discrimination, not excuses. Super zoom. Yeah, I super zoom. Um, but I still don't think, taken together, they ensured that Hannah would be a naughty little girl indeed. No, I don't think so. I've known many kids. My parents did foster care for troubled teens. None of them turned out to be murderers. I have not gotten word that any of the foster kids my parents took in over the years were criminals on this level. Again, I don't think upbringing is a very good reason to disregard that a 12-year-old killed a 6-year-old. So let's read the story. Unfortunately, it was Hannah's poor luck to be born in the 18th century America, a place where there were no dysfunctional families, no disadvantaged children, no colonial forebears saw little our colonial forebears saw little need to debate causes in those simpler times. Um we still it doesn't matter what the cause is, there's still a consequence. Like, am I the only one who hasn't sees this way? There still has to be a consequence. Um, Everyone knew Satan was behind it all. Oh, they may not be wrong on that one too. Thou shalt not kill. First, one of many ten commandments in multiple religions. Everyone chooses a path. Upbringing is isn't a valid reason to kill others. Yeah, okay. So I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Got it. Um, So everyone knew Satan was behind it. Little girls like Hannah were wicked. The wicked were to be punished. Yeah. And Hannah earned the harshest punishment they could meet out. Unlike her contemporary, the proverbial little girl with the curl when she was very very good, Hannah was never good. But she was but when she was bad, she was truly horrid. Born in 1774, Groton, Connecticut, under unpromising conditions, her mother, a full-blooded Pequot Indian, was best known for her chronic drunkenness and an old odd habit of vanishing for months at a time. Her father, who was apparently white, had long since left the picture, probably simultaneously with the news of Hannah's conception. Yet Hannah's fate would far exceed the grimmest promise of her background. A lot of people have had bad parents. We choose not to commit crimes. Even at that age, I knew murder was wrong. Um, Crazy B should be logic and fair B. I swear I feel like I'm the only one in the world some days who actually thinks this way. I really sometimes wonder if I'm the only one. So she was barely 6 years old when she had her first recorded brush with authorities. With poverty a perpetual concern in the Oakish household, she pooled forces with her 8-year-old brother to pick up a little extra money. Okay, so they did what a lot of kids back then did in poverty, and some still do today. They stole. It's wrong. You still can't steal. It is wrong. You can beg for help of the churches. You can beg of help from people. Stealing is a no-no. And even if they tell you no, sorry, I stealing's wrong. It's wrong. Very wrong. Um, they preferred to use the more lucrative occupation of armed robbery. The baby-faced muggers debuted in their chosen profession by waylaying a small girl, descending on the child like a pair of small, ferocious animals. They beat her brutally and tore her clothes and a small gold locket from her body, but poor planning did them in. The robbery was barely completed before they started arguing at the scene over the division of the loot. Their blood covered, half dead victim took advantage of the distraction to escape with her life. Um, yeah, this is children who should have, yeah, there was no system back then to help them, but still, churches were around. Churches were supposed to step in. I'm sorry, this is still no excuse for the behavior. Yes, bleeding heart, I'm sorry you had a bad life. So did I. Don't go killing and stealing. As a result of this little incident, the town fathers decided something had to be done. Both Hannah and her brother were removed from their mother's custody and put into a pre federal American's version of foster care, bound servitude. Okay. Funny enough, though, nothing further was ever heard of her brother. Presumably, he went on to a life marked by nothing worse than petty crime. Wow. So, where's the difference? Um, it is a horrible story. I absolutely agree. Just her upbringing is absolutely horrible, and the way they worded it made it even worse to play on people's emotions. Stick to the facts. They beat a little girl damn near to death, took her, well, I wouldn't say to death. She was obviously able to get up and run to get help. Maybe not death, near death would have been the best wording, but they beat the crap out of a little girl and stole her locket and then stupidly stood there to argue about it. But that's young kids being stupid and still unacceptable. Throw their asses into some kind of consequence. So they got put into bound servitude, which is a form of slavery, in case anyone doesn't notice. Yeah, it's a form of slavery. Um, so he went on to do good, but um, his sister, not so much. In 1786, the Hannah was working for and living with a widow outside of New London, Connecticut. Now a big girl of 12, the intervening years of hard labor had made no discernible improvements for her in improvement in her moral fiber. Well, no shit. The girl needs psychiatric care. According to one contemporary account, theft and lying were her common vices. How do you go from theft and lying to murder? Okay. So, nonetheless, she appears to have confided this kicking up of her heels to her off duty hours. Confined. Oh my God, confined it to her off duty hours. There were no records of any complaints from her elderly mistress. However, Hannah had found more satisfactory targets for what writers so gracefully describe as her maliciousness of disposition. Man, Old English is tough. If anyone doesn't know what that means, she was dispositioned to be a pain in the butt who really didn't like people, and everything she did had negative or bad intentions. Um, She was a terror of the local sub-teen set, all about New London. The children were reportedly very much afraid of her. I wonder how much of that had to do with their parents. I really do. So, in June of that year, the happy cries of children filled the fields outside what was then little more than a pastoral village. Strawberry time had come to the land. The fields were filled with youngsters equipped with all manners of baskets, bags, and barrels, eagerly seeking the succulent berries. Now, I love strawberry picking. Oh my God. If I was healthy again, I'd have an entire field of strawberries and just have fun with them. Um, over the over hill and dale they scampered. With shouts of joy, they descended on bush after bush, quickly stripping them of the delicious fruit. No doubt, as many berries wound up in red stained mouths as in the baskets and buckets. Of course, what other reason is there to help with strawberry picking but to eat some of them? I mean, come on, you got to take the ripest ones so they don't go bad. I mean, seriously. Anyways, no doubt, the baskets. It was a scene straight out of Winslow Homer's painting, ripe with agrarian nostalgia. I will learn to read, I promise. In the midst of this gaiety, one little girl wasn't happy. Eunice Bowles was only 6, perhaps not old enough to know better, but she didn't know that the strawberries she'd so carefully picked were now in Hannah's basket. Perhaps Hannah had slyly filched the fruit. However, it is more likely she employed the traditional tactics of juvenile intimidation, bullying, if you will. They really had to add the word bullying. Juvenile intimidation is pretty clear. Um, Unless you're just illiterate. I apologize if you are. It's easy to picture Hannah approaching the younger girl in a remote field and politely advising her she had a choice between a full basket of strawberries and a split skull. I don't think it went there, but anyways, if it had if it had ended here, nothing more would have happened. Eunice probably would have grown up to be a respectable middle class matron, while Hannah most likely would have wound up a disreputable servant or perhaps a well-known alcoholic slattern. Oh my God. But Eunice did not intend to forgive and forget. Boldly bucking the juvenile social code's dire warning about the slit tongues, which is tattletales, which await tattletales. She told so history does not record what punishment, if any, had been handed out to Hannah, but it did leave her swearing a solemn oath to even the score. Unlike Eunice, Hannah was true to her code of her peer group. No neighborhood bully shall suffer a fink to live. So, a snitch. Basically, the girl snitched on her, and well, still to this day, snitches get stitches code, I would assume. Not that that's acceptable, by the way. I am not supportive of it in any way, fashion, or form. Anyways, Hannah was in no hurry. She waited patiently, biding her time for the perfect opportunity. It came 5 weeks later. While she was out fetching water, Hannah spotted Eunice walking past her mistress's house en route to school. This was her big chance. Quickly rushing inside, she put down the bucket and hastily grabbed a small piece of calico cloth. Um, Vengeance was about to be hers. Eunice was 100 yards down the road when Hannah came out. Um, Hidden by a stone wall, she sprinted across the garden and jumped over the wall to confront the smaller girl. Perhaps the little girl was startled by this sudden appearance of her erstwhile tormentor, but Hannah was no fool. She knew the value of a delicate strategic approach. Oh, Lord. Making a pretense of letting bygones be bygones, she cunningly concealed her malicious intent behind a mask of smiles and the calico cloth. Here, Eunice, she probably said, and here we go into assumptions and speculations. She probably said in her most beguiling tones, "Look what I have for you." Again, this is an assumption, not a fact. Eunice was completely taken in by this. Knew Hannah like a horror movie actress investigating a noise in a darkened cellar. She was magnetically drawn to the older girl. Her eyes glued to the gaily colored fabric. Hadn't noticed Hannah's other hand, the one with the rock, until it was too late.
What the heck are you reading?
From the 1700s, a 12-year-old girl brutally murdered a 6-year-old girl over some strawberries.
Can't have anything in Detroit.
It wasn't in Detroit. It was in Connecticut.
How uncivilized.
Yeah. Hannah brought the stone down on her head with a tremendous blow, stunning the smaller girl. In a state of raging fury, she continued to strike the cringing child, even as she protests, "Oh, if you keep beating me, so I shall die." Okay, I wouldn't be taking that long. Like, stop, bitch! You're gonna kill me. If you keep beating me, so I shall die. Um, that's a little bit dramatic. I really don't think that's an exact quote. I'm sorry.
English was a lot more civilized back
Not when you're getting beat with a rock. I highly doubt that. This heart-rending plea probably only encouraged Hannah to redouble her efforts. Okay, there's the word probably. Again, this is not a fact. This is an assumption. Eunice finally collapsed in a crumpled heap. Her head and her body were badly mangled, and both um, her back and one arm were broken. Hannah stepped back and triumphantly admired her handiwork, undoubtedly thinking, so in another assumption, that'll teach her. Here's some more assumptions. Where's the proof? I want proof to this. But like so many killers before her and since, Hannah had underestimated the magnitude of her task. Eunice began to stir. Hannah was startled, but so managed to keep her cool, mindful of what happened the last time she didn't finish the job. She grabbed the little girl by the throat and squeezed until any lingering doubts were gone. Then, to make things look good, she piled rocks from the nearby stone fence atop the body. As she strolled back to her mistress's house, she probably was smug in her cleverness at making Eunice's murder look like the results of a collapsed fence. As passerbys discovered the body a few hours later, a nearby resident, Hannah, was one of the first people questioned. Well, no shit. They had a big spat back few weeks ago. They're gonna think it was her. So, why? She was prepared. Why, yes, she told the investigators she had noticed something unusual that morning, but she had spotted four boys trespassing in her mistress's garden. Ever the loyal and faithful servant, she shouted at them until they fled. And not too long afterwards, she heard a strange sound, much like the noise of stones falling from the fence. Why, that must have been what when the fence fell upon the poor girl. Oh, she might have been telling the truth. Just gonna say, she might have been telling the truth. And they made up this story. We don't know. I'd love to see what their proof is because they sure made a lot of assumptions already. The prominent fingers finger marks on Eunice's throat ruled out the possibility of an accident. The four boys seemed likely suspects, but no trace of them could be found. Playing a hunch, the investigators tried some hardball with Hannah the next day. They confronted her with the results of her deeds, taking her to the house where Eunice's battered corpse was laying in state. Not too surprisingly, Hannah broke down and told them everything, from the strawberries to the stones. Okay, so she admitted it, off to the gallows after a trial, of course. But I mean, come on. The trial was one of the more bizarre spectacles to grace a colonial courtroom. With the concept of a juvenile court over 100 years in the future, the trial was conducted under the standards of adult criminal process. Well, at 12, I would say no, not an adult. Even though it was possibly premeditated, I don't think I would try as an adult, but a very disturbed child. Just going to go there. Very disturbed child. Children are under the even the most dedicated advocates of the children are just little adults theory, popular at the time, found the spectacle of a 12-year-old girl on trial for her life somewhat disconcerting. Yeah, contemporary accounts describe emotions as sympathetic, mind you.
These are really good. Do you want some?
Do they have peanut butter in them?
They're the raisins.
I know, but is there peanut butter too? Do
I
you?
don't know.
Well, I can try a couple, and if my throat swells, I'll take Benadryl. The calmest person in the courtroom was Hannah herself, who remained cool and apparently unconcerned throughout the hearing. The judge may have been misty, but he managed to keep any trace of sentiment out of his.
She says no.
Okay, then I will have some. Find a plate and put it on it for me. Okay. Um, in reviewing the evidence, he found the elements of malice, premeditation, and a pretty darn good try at concealing the crime. Well, yeah, I mean, she also admitted to it. You must consider and realize it that after death you must undergo another trial, infinitely more solemn and awful than what you have passed through. Before that God against you, whom you offended, at whose bar the deceased child will appear as a swift witness against you. Yeah, if you have any belief in religion,
There's
that's
mostly cookie dust in this, so
okay. Thank you,
it may
sweetheart.
not seem like a lot, but
It's okay. I like cookies no matter what.
okay.
I will eat them. Um, so, um, so even back then, adults worried about the outbreaks of homicidal mania among the hoop and hopscotch set. Really, because one kid committed murder, the rest are gonna just jump in and start doing it. Our children are not little adults. Mice lie. Monkeys exaggerate. Wait for the medical testing. Never mind. Yeah. Um, with the final roar of a judicial thunder, he roared his verdict, sentencing her to be hanged with a rope by the neck until you are dead, dead, dead. Back in her cell, Hannah's tough cheek facade cracked. When someone explained they really meant the part about hanging her by the neck, she found this very upsetting and it was inconsolable for the rest of the day. But the next morning, she was her old carefree self again. Apparently, someone else had told her she was a cinch for a reprieve. That's not going to happen. She could go back to the jail. She could go back to her jailhouse routine, which may have been the happiest days of her life. She didn't have to work, got lots of attention, and could even play with the children who came to visit. Okay. Um, and she took no sass from adults. One observer commented she frequently would make very shrewd turns upon those persons who made severe remarks upon her. Reality sank in about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks before the hanging. Hannah realized there was no reprieve, no rescue. On December 20, less than 5 months after the killing, she was taken from her cell and marched out before the crowd behind the New London Meeting House. Hanging was not the only punishment awaiting her. Before the main event, Yale minister Henry Channing harangued, oh my God, Hannah and the assembled New Englanders. With an amazing sermon, the colonists saw fit to preserve the post- posterity. His, he ranted for well over an hour, illustrating the fate of children with poor church attendance, with reading of every Bible verse involving a naughty child, a spared rod, and a nasty end. Not neglecting his younger listeners, he pointed to Hannah and said, "There behold, my young brethren, the fate of one who, in a mind not below the common level, has been left unrestrained to the guidance of guilty passions and a corrupt heart." Oddly enough, he directed much of his wrath at blasphemy. At one point, he almost shrieked the text of Exodus 27, "The Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain." So, yeah, no using God's name in vain. I don't know what that has to do with murder, but it is what it is. Um, at the end of his sermon, he brought his heavy ecclesiastical canons to bear on the quivering prisoner. "Hannah," he thundered, "the time for you to die has come." And that would be far from the end of her troubles. Okay. "You will soon see that there is a great God who is angry with the wicked every day, and he will punish forever those whose sins are not pardoned before they die." And apparently, ignorance of God was no excuse, he warned to the cringing girl. Um, Interesting. "If he is not more merciful than you, your soul cannot be saved. He sees nothing in you but the wickedness, a poor wicked creature covered with the innocent blood of a helpless child crying to you for mercy." And I'm noticing the time. I will do a part 2 to this on Wednesday where we cover the George Stymie case, which is another one that was like really wow. That was a messed up one too. So let's get through this one and then Wednesday I will cover the second case. So, small wonder that the witnesses reported Hannah looking greatly afraid and seemed to want somebody to help her. Eventually, Channing ran out of hellfire and brimstone and the ordeal. With what must have been at least a small sense of relief, Hannah quickly thanked the sheriff for her kind treatment in the jail and stepped up to the gallows. Some of the language is because we had much more religion around our laws back then. It's become different through the years. Yeah. And me trying to remember how to pronounce some of this language because I'm normally really good at this. In my head, it sounds much more literate than it does coming out of my mouth. And I don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah. So she is up on the gallows. Within moments, she set a record. At 12 years and 9 months, she remains the youngest girl ever executed in the United States. She may not have been the naughtiest girl in American history, but one can only react with awe at her pre- pre- precocity. There's the word, precocity. And again, you can tell this is a heavily biased article. Um, Not even gonna lie. You could tell they're playing at the heartstrings. There's still a consequence for your actions, no matter what. Um, and honestly, it's hard to say. There has to be a consequence for the actions. And, again, there really isn't an excuse for this behavior. Society has taught over the years, you hear it in the news, you hear it in the conversations, murder's wrong, theft is wrong, this, that, the other. There's absolutely no reason for this to have happened. Absolutely no reason for her to have done this. Again, age, impulse control, I mean, that does play into it, but at some point, there still has to be a consequence for the actions. I really, really dislike when people want to excuse all consequences, no consequences for this because you had a rough life. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on it. Nope, still a consequence. I don't care. I honestly, there has to be a consequence. It doesn't have to be a severe consequence, but there has to be a consequence. Plain and simple. So I mean, there's that. And I just I want to go over this next one here. This is all I'm sorry. This is all the people who have been executed cuz I was looking into where Judge Joe Brown said it was in Arkansas in the 1930s, but between 1901 and 1964. So 63 years. Um there were, let's see, it starts at 232 and it goes all the way down to 478. So a little bit of over 200 men. This is just the males that were executed in Arkansas in 63 years. As you can see, many don't have their age, many don't have an occupation. Heck, this one doesn't even have the crime. Hold on. Hold up. Let me hold up. Crime? Question mark. So why was Jerry Carter, a black male of unknown age, unknown occupation, unknown crime, hanged in on September 19th, 1902 in Chicot County? Um, why is there a question mark there? I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can make this larger for you guys. Why is there a question mark on person number 251? Oh, no, sorry. 250, Jerry Carter. It makes no sense. It makes zero sense why that happened. And this is just the men. I do believe there was a one for women somewhere. I think this is it. Oh, go away. So, nope, these are all males too. These are all males. And I think this list is different. Um, what year was that one? Hold on. It was 250 on here. So September 19th, 1902. Uh-huh. Where was that page? Okay. Oh, this doesn't even go back to 1902. This is 1913 to present. This is another long list. And I want to know more about these. I would love to know more about these, especially the ones that are missing ages. Why isn't their age recorded? I just, you know, there's got to be some more answers to this. But I mean, I'm still going through. We're only in the 1950s. And this is just Arkansas till 2017. I mean, this is kind of a messed up circumstance. So, what I'll do is I'll make this a part 2 tomorrow. I'm going to call it a little early. Um Records may have become lost between time of sentence and time of the list. That's true. That is so true. Unless you are incapable of understanding the improper nature of your actions, you are responsible, and I don't really care what your motivation was. Same, very much. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it early today. I'll be back on Wednesday to cover the George Steiny case, which is absolutely unbelievably messed up. Really messed up. We thought this one was bad. His is a worse one because he was wrongfully convicted and sentenced to death. And yeah, it was messed up. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it today, and I'll be back on Wednesday with more. Let me close that, and put on my outro. So with that, I thank you all for showing up, being here, and as usual, stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. I truly appreciate those who showed up and those who are going to be watching later on. I will catch y'all on the next one.